This is Mr. Madrid from the Mr. Madrid Show, and today we're here live on Optima One Realty here in Claremont, Florida, with none other than Tony Stanley. Tony, you've been on the show once before,
Yep.
but real quick, for the people that don't know you, just real briefly introduce yourself, who you are, what you do.
Sure. So Tony Stanley, been in the real estate business for 23 years. Started out at Coldwell Banker, went to another smaller brokerage. And then about 15 years ago, my wife and I decided to open up our own company, Optima One Realty. So we've been here in downtown Claremont for 15 years, but we service all of Central Florida. I'm also lucky enough to have agents in the Tampa area and also the Fort Myers area.
Nice, nice. And this is something that we mentioned in the first episode that we did together. But so you have this office location, but then under you, how many realtors do you have that work under you?
Well, we have 60 licensed realtors that work under us. About 10 of those are going to be just what we call referral agents. They hold their license,
Okay,
but they don't actively sell, but they'll refer business.
got it.
So about 10 referral agents and then 50 active agents.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I see all the business cards in the front of the office here.
It's surreal, man. Yeah, it really is.
But how do you? So just to get straight to it, real estate started 15 years ago. You started at Coldwell Banking. You said originally.
Coldwell Banker. Yeah.
Coldwell Banker. What made you do this shift from working for somebody else and taking the leap of faith into entrepreneurship?
Well, the brokerage that I worked with at Coldwell Banker were great. I mean, I had some great trainers, great broker, Fred Elliott. Shout out to Fred. He's great, really. He projected my whole real estate career, basically. But what made us change is that we were working with another independent broker, and he was great as well. I mean, very, very good real estate agent, very good broker. But there's sometimes whether it's friends, family, great person, you just don't see eye to eye on stuff.
Right.
And really, that's all it was. I mean, we said, why don't we just do our own thing? It wasn't like this big. I wanted to grow a big brokerage. That was never in my plans. It was just supposed to be my wife and I with our own real estate company.
Right.
And then we got one agent, another agent, and it just kept snowballing. But yeah, no cool story there. Just kind of wanted to do our own thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And also, like, the other thing that's super admirable about Tony, like, I mentioned it in the first one, but I'll mention it again for any new viewers and people that are listening for the first time. I met Tony from a referral that he did. So I used to live in a community. We used to live, I think, in the same community.
Yeah.
And I was doing pressure washing and window cleaning. And I got a call from a random person saying that they were referred to me by Tony Stanley, their realtor, that they were interested in pressure washing. So I didn't even know. I was like, yeah. And then I reached out to you through Facebook and just thanked you for it. But from then on was that I kind of knew of you. And then ultimately I didn't buy my first home, which was like shame, right? From Tony. But when it came time for me to start thinking about the idea of selling my first home and potentially moving somewhere else and buying a home somewhere else, I wasn't there just yet, but the comfortability, the just how cool it was just to be able to reach out to you, say, hey, I think I want to do something. I'm not too sure. I have a couple questions. Can we talk? And this is something that I tell people all the time. Everybody has a realtor. That's what I was telling you earlier. Everybody has a
knows
realtor.
one. Yeah.
My realtor's the best. My realtor, and I'm gonna join that, right? My realtor's the best. But what I would say about it is, like, the first time around, even before we did business, you were already on my podcast. Like, you didn't have nothing to gain at all. You were willing to come on the pod. And, I really thank you for that. And even give out information to the viewers and even myself in the whole process of us thinking about putting our house for sale and then ultimately going with you where you took care of everything. And these guys did an amazing job. Like, talk about, I think that the house was in the market for 10 days. And then we found the house where we wanted to buy a home in another city here in Florida, and we were able to close in the same day, which is huge.
Yes. Yeah.
And kudos to you and the team. But it's not that it's unheard of, but it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So to have somebody like Tony in this office to be able to, you know, make it happen was amazing. And just like the way, and I'm just blabbing away about my experience, but that's what you want. You want a realtor that's going to kind of uh, show you the ropes, the good, the bad, the ugly. I know at one point I was asking you, like, hey, Tony, should I keep the house? And you really like guided me and my wife in the right direction. And you didn't force us. That's one thing, too. It was,
No, and I wanted just to bring up that I didn't, yeah, he hit on it. I wasn't
yeah,
forcing it.
yeah,
I gave you options for rental versus selling it because I want to see other people succeed.
right.
For one, that's just my nature. Um, for two, like I'm here to advise, man. Like
Yep.
that is my number one job is just to advise people how to, maneuver around the world of real estate. So yeah, man.
And you came like when you came to the house to look at it, you came with numbers. He
Yes.
came in with a folder. He had our house. He had the houses around us. Like he showed us this is what you can do.
Right.
If you want to go this route, this is kind of like the lay of the land. You showed us every possible option for us to make an educated and informed decision
Exactly.
and that we could live with.
Yes.
Because to not be informed and then find something out after the fact and trusting you to do something and then be like, hey, Tony, you didn't tell us this.
Right.
It's like, no, Tony brought a folder, laid everything on the table. This is what you guys can do. What can you guys do?
Right.
Which was amazing. And the reason that I even point that out is because I was dealing with another realtor and I mentioned this again previously, but it was a little bit more pushy. It was a little bit more not guided. It was like forcing us to lean a certain way. And ultimately, we didn't go that route and we went with the better choice, which ultimately, even now, almost 2 years after purchasing this home and selling our old one, we still feel so comfortable. We're
Right.
happy.
Good.
I text you, you text me from time to time, and
Yep.
the relationship is always going to be there. And the next time around, I'm staying here. Now it sounds like an infomercial, you have to choose Tony. But
Here's I appreciate
so, Tony, what makes you that person? The person that you're just because there's a truth be told, there's a lot of money in real estate,
yes.
ton of money you can make. There's a ton of opportunity to take advantage of people.
Yeah.
And
And it
you could have
happens.
gone that route,
Yep.
but you're so honest that, like you didn't choose that route. And
Right.
that's why you get repeat business. But what makes you just be as transparent and honest with people? I mean, honesty is huge in this game, but just transparency where you show people exactly the options as it is.
Yeah, man. So when I was younger, my father went into a real estate transaction and he was not told everything about the transaction. It was like an owner finance deal, but it wasn't full transparency. Unfortunately, we ended up losing the house because of that. So when I got into like, I've always been interested in real estate, mainly like new construction. I would go and, when I was young, go into new construction homes that I wasn't supposed to. I actually got a concussion in one time, but
We got to go back.
but just to see how it could wreck a family
Right.
if there's no transparency, because not people don't know about real estate, like the real details of real estate every day. So I'm a little different than most realtors. Is I actually chose this career. This was not a fallback career for me. And one reason why I chose it is because of what happened in my past. And that's why I'm so damn transparent, because I don't want to be that person that made a family go through this and that. I want you to call me in 10 years and say, Tony, thank you for guiding me. Thank you. I just bought a house in Puerto Rico or
Right.
wherever it is because of your advice. Like that, it gives me chills. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like that's what I live for, man. But I think because of my background, that's probably who I am with the transparency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when I advocate for you in your office here, that's what I talk about. I'm like, there's great realtors out there,
Yep.
they're fantastic, but it's just the transparency, the calls that you would call us, like, let us know exactly what's going on, or even just checking in, like, hey, you
Yeah.
guys all right? I know we haven't spoken in a couple days.
Yeah.
Just want to let you know everything is fine. If you have any questions, like, just we were so hands off with the whole process. Like, as soon as Tony would hear anything that was out of the norm, he said, I'll call you right back. I'll take care of it.
Yep.
To have that, like, white glove service,
Yeah. Thank you, man. Yeah.
polish.
That's what we strive for,
Yeah.
honestly. It's just any service right now, any service industry, I think, doesn't have a lot of that anymore.
Right.
So we strive to be that in real estate.
Yeah. A lot of business is all transactional. It's like, it's almost like taking an order at McDonald's where you just take it and you're gone.
Right.
That's why I think as a business person has always made me successful or have people, clients that call me back for some of the services that I offer is that rapport that I build, just checking in, just saying hello or whatever it may be, just
Yeah.
taking that extra step.
Yeah. And statistically, it costs a lot more to gain a new customer versus having a return customer, right?
Right.
But a lot of agents or businesses don't understand that. So they just think, oh, this is one sale, move to the next sale. One sale, move to the next sale. But it's costing them in advertising, everything. If they would just treat that first one like white glove service
Yeah.
in the long run, like they don't have to advertise.
Yeah.
It all comes like word of mouth. And once you start building that word of mouth, like that's when your business really scales. Yeah.
We were buying some pressure washing equipment, me and my brother-in-law in Orlando, and or I'm just starting the business. This time I have a partner, and this guy rolls up in a trailer, has the works, all the bells and whistles for pressure washing.
Yeah.
Comes in, and I could start a conversation with a wall if it talks
Right.
about. So we start talking, and I start asking him how long you've been in business. He's like, "Oh, I've been in business 30 years," and I'm like, "How do you maintain your business?
Yeah.
Like, how is it that you can stay afloat? Because it's been difficult for us to get." He's like, "Well, everything for me is word of mouth. Like it started that 20, 30 years ago, and it's remained that way." And that's what it is. What you're saying is like,
Yeah.
business is marketing, yes, but if you present yourself well, if you take care of people, if you do right by people, not only will you keep them as a customer, but the referrals is where.
Uh, And, whenever you go to like people build businesses to sell them, whenever you go to sell a business, there's a detail in there, something called goodwill. And goodwill is your reputation. So they put a value on goodwill.
Mm,
So if it's, that shows you how important that is. There's a lot of value to goodwill and your reputation.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that there was something
Yeah.
like that.
Mm.
'Cause it sounds almost like a little fairy tale-ish, but I mean, it's accurate. Because if you have a
It's,
good reputation,
yeah,
it speaks
it's
volumes.
business, man. They know that people that buy businesses, they want to see, what does the community think about
Right.
you? How many repeat customers do you have? And if realtors would treat their business that way, it'd be a lot better,
Yeah.
a lot better business.
So being that you already have the secret ingredient, you know what I mean? Like you have that sauce of what it takes to maintain a business. What happens like what got you to the point of being a successful realtor? And the reason I ask you is because sometimes I feel like everybody in Florida has a real estate
Everybody
license,
does,
right?
yeah,
But
absolutely.
not everybody has the success that I mean, we're in your office. How many square feet is this?
It's about 2,800 square feet.
Oh, so you have a whole building. It's a one story, but it's from like almost corner to corner. So you definitely did something right. So
Yeah.
what was that?
It really comes down to one thing, man. It is really just treating people how you want to be treated. As cheesy as that sounds, like
But
that is what it is. And, I mean, we're in real estate. So we are service oriented, but we are also salespeople. So here's how I explain to my agents, when we have a buyer, we don't sell to that buyer. We sell for that buyer. When we have a seller, we sell for that seller. We're not selling to our clients, we're selling for our clients. I think people get that mixed up. They'll try to sell to the client. I might say, Anthony, you got to choose me, man, because I've had 3,000 real estate transactions and I've been in this business 23 years. Like, no, like that's not what you do. You know, I'm going to sell you by getting you the best deal on your home. I'm going to sell you by getting the highest price for your house. So you have to be a salesman and you have to know marketing, right? And you have to know what to say, what not to say. Many brokerages, they don't teach the sales aspect. They just
right,
don't. I don't know why. They just don't. On top of that, it's education. So we provide a lot of training for our agents, hands-on training. I'm here, right? I'm the broker owner. My wife here is here. She's the broker owner. We have Patty O'Malley, who's a broker. We have Bo Griffin, who's a broker. We have John Powell, who's a broker. We have Michelle Pierce. We have a lot of people here with experience that hold a broker's license, and agents see that. So I feel like all that support, that's why agents come here,
right.
and that's what built our business up. And as brokers, we understand that we couldn't build all this with just my wife and I. So we have to take care of those who helped us build this. And that's how we grow. That's how we grew so fast and so big. And I think most brokers, I don't want to talk bad about anybody.
Right, right.
They don't do it that way.
Uh,
They use the agents as a pawn, and that they'll use their agents for their own benefit, where we have the team and everybody benefits. It's like if you're at my table, like we're all eating. Like I am not gonna push you out just because you sold one house. Like I want you more because I want to show you how to sell 100 houses, and that philosophy. And I think if you ask any of our agents, that's what they'll say, the support. And on top of the support, like we offer very good commission splits too, which is kind of unheard of to have both. But we're not greedy people. We're not in this just for the money. So that's what separates our brokerage. We don't do recruiting. You won't, if you're an agent, you won't get a call from my company to say, hey, you want to go out for coffee this morning? Or
yeah.
can I take you out to lunch? Are you happy with your brokerage? Right. My agents get recruited to every single day from other brokerages, but you'll never get an Optima One Realty recruitment call. All of our agents are organic growth. Like they're all from referrals. So that's we're different in those ways.
Which is
And
awesome because they want to be here. It's not like
they
you,
want to be here.
what is
Yeah.
it called? Poaching,
Correct.
right?
We don't poach.
Which is awesome too. So you have the experience of being a realtor and you're the broker. Can you tell us about like sometimes that you've gone through those moments of like the oh shit moment? Like what are we gonna do? Because I'm pretty sure like, you have your good months, good years, or good
Yeah.
quarters for that matter. And then you have those months where you're like, maybe not now, but in the past.
Yeah. So I remember, so I originally came down from Indiana 24 years ago to Florida. My family, my friends, we had a party, going away party. They were taking bets on how long I was going to stay in Florida. Swear to God. So my sister Angie, I think, is the one that gave me the longest time, and she bet 6 months.
Okay.
I've been down here for 24 years.
I think she lost by a little bit,
I
right?
think they all lost, right? So there's gonna, when the people around you doubt you, it's very easy to doubt yourself.
Right.
So to me, it was like, watch me, like you don't know me, obviously.
Right.
And that kind of hurt a little bit. It
Yeah.
didn't hurt that they were making bets. It's like, you don't know me. Let me show you who I am. When I got my real estate license, my friends were telling me, oh, you're not a realtor. What are you doing? Realtors are only like older ladies or whatever. 2 years later, that those friends are calling me for money. It's like, let me show you. Keep doubting me. Keep doubting me and watch what happens. And then you go through a stage where they say, oh, maybe he's serious about this, you know? And then they start giving you a little praise. And then it's like, shit, am I can I be this person? And you
Right.
have self doubt. When I started at Coldwell Banker, we used to do this thing called floor time where we had to answer the phones. So one of my first calls, I answer the phone, Coldwell Banker, this is Tony. And lady calls about a house. She's asking me these questions. And I said, I don't know. I don't know, ma'am. Let me get back to you. I don't know. Let me get back to you. I don't. And then she said to me, she said, well, you're not a very good real estate man, are you? In that moment,
That
I'm like,
stings.
yeah, I'm like, did I choose the right path? You know, and then, what broke me in my career or kind of had me break out was I had this gentleman come into the office and he said, I want your newest, youngest real estate agent. And everybody said, oh, it's the FNG, fucking new guy, which was me. Right. And the guy comes in, his name's Todd Lanius. Love this man. Tall guy, country accent, right? He comes in, Stanley, he said, I'm going to teach you about real estate. I'm going to teach you about investments. And that guy changed my life because he gave me the opportunity and he taught me, from a customer perspective. Like I always say, if you want to be good at your craft, like put yourself in the customer's shoes.
Right.
And this guy, I was lucky enough to have this guy like teach me, right, what customers are looking for. And out of all of that, I'm going to bring it back real quick because before I got my license, I took my real estate test 7 times to pass. The 6th time that I took it, I almost gave up, right? And my dad calls me and he says, "Son, will you take this test one more time? One more time. Do it for me. Just do it for me." I said, "Fine, Dad. I'll take it one more time for you." And I passed that time.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
So he's always been a believer in me. He's always had my back, always supported me. And that is important because without him, I wouldn't have gone the next step, you
Right.
know? So just having those people that support you, knowing that you're going to fail and accepting that. I've doubted myself so many times in real estate. When we opened the company, can I be the broker? You know, can I run a real estate company? And there were times like 2 or 3 years in where we, financially weren't doing as well as we thought we were doing. And I tried to convince my wife to shut it down and go join another brokerage. And she said, no, we're going to continue doing this. And thank God she did that, because now we're here. So I don't think you can be successful without having those failures and without having self doubt. Otherwise, if you're not God, like you can't be the best if you don't fail first. And
Right.
because you have to learn what you did. Like the lady who said, "I'm not a good real estate man." That's the last time anybody said that to me because I learned from it. And I knew that I had to know my inventory, and product knowledge, any sales training you go to,
Right.
the first thing they're going to tell you is know your product knowledge. So I know everything about my real estate market because when I get asked that, I have to have the answers. So just learning stuff like that, I think really helped me grow and just treating everybody. I don't care who it is. Have I told you the story about one of my first sales about the guy that came in with ripped up clothing?
No, I don't think so.
So this is a lesson that I learned is you can never judge a book by its cover. So I'm newer into real estate. A gentleman comes in, shorter guy. He has these rain boots on. It's the middle of summer, rubber boots, big shirt, a hole in it, some stains. This guy comes in. He says, "I want to buy a piece of land." Nobody wanted to work with him. So again, they give him to the FNG, which is me. And so I'm sitting down with them and I said, "Sir, how can I help you?" And he said, "Well, I want to buy a piece of commercial property." So at this time, vacant lots were what we're used to selling is between 5 and 10,000. This guy says, "I have a property in mind. It's 200,000 on State Road 80, I think it was." I said, "Okay." I said, "Let's go take a look at it." And he grabbed my hand and he goes, "Son," he said, "I want you to know that you're not wasting your time. My church sent me in here and they are going to be paying for this cash. 200,000 when I'm used to selling $5,000, $10,000 lots. And he did. They bought it. So that was really cool, a good lesson. 'Cause you never know. You never know
Yeah.
who anybody is. Look, luxury comes in all different sizes and everything because not everybody flaunts their money. Luxury could be a horse farm, or luxury could be a 4,000 square foot home on, Lake Butler,
Yeah.
something like that. So same with your clients. So no matter what business you're in, just treat everybody the same, man. Like that's all you have to do.
Like it's interesting because it reminds me. I used to work at a cell phone store in New York City, AT&T at the time, and it was on 95th and Broadway. Columbia University is on 125th. So there is this Chinese organization that I don't know how long they've been there, but what they do is right before the semester starts, they go and ask for some type of funding from different companies. So they, let's say it's 5,000 Chinese students are coming into Columbia this semester. That organization will go to Chase Bank, say, "Hey, I'll bring 5,000, students here to
Right.
open up an account, bring money in.
Gotcha.
Can you guys sponsor us?" They'll
Hmm.
go from place to place. Typically, whenever we had in sales, it's you judge a book by its cover. It's not the right thing to do, but
Yeah, I
it's
think
what
it's
happens.
human nature.
This kid comes in. Chinese guy. Everybody disappears. Like it's when we would see that, and then I'm gonna include myself in it. We automatically assume it's a tourist because it's New York City.
Gotcha.
He's coming from China maybe and wants to buy a prepaid SIM card, which was not
Gotcha.
really a sale.
Yeah.
For me, I just took it. The guy just went up to the guy and I'm like, "Hey, what do you need help with?" And he's like, "Can I speak to your manager?" That's the second. That's the second thing that you run into where you're like, "Oh, this is a problem." And go get the
Right.
Anthony goes and says, "I can go get him for you, but is anything I can help you with?"
Nice. Yep.
He goes right into, "I have 1,000 students that I would like to bring to the store." The
Wow.
rest is history.
Wow, dude.
It was when I tell you there was lines of students outside and they were all buying phones from me.
Wow. That's
Um,
awesome.
I did, I think, a total of 500 or 600 lines, which is unheard of. Our quota was, I think, like 40 or 50. So I did 10 times that. And then the rest, like I had like a vacation plan with Lisette. That's where I met her.
Oh, cool.
And then I got kind of the other people involved, and I was like, "Hey, you know, uh, put 5 lines under my name, and then you can get the rest." And that was it.
Dang.
But if it wasn't for that moment of,
Yeah.
"Do you need help,
Right.
manager? Let me try again." My mom always talks about that. She's like, "The reason that people come back to you, Anthony, is because you talk to anybody. Like you don't."
Yeah.
And it's 100% correct. Like
Yep.
you just never know.
Treat everybody the same.
Yeah,
And my dad always said, walk softly, but carry a big stick. Everybody's your friend until they're not. Let them know. But, everybody deserves that respect.
100%. And then with that said too, like even having conversations with people that are you just never know. You just
Right.
really never know like the conversations that come about and what you can learn from people and
Yeah.
things of that nature. It's very interesting. So with that said, like those are kind of some of the struggles and you spoke about failures. Being that you had the support system that you had, it seemed like you had this gentleman that you met, Todd,
Yep.
right?
Hmm.
You had your dad, you had your wife. What within yourself was it that kept that fire going? That even though you were faced with failures, like what was it deep down inside that kept you, aside from the outside world, that kept you focused and saying, you know what, I'm keep going at this.
Well, you got to have your why. I'm a big in manifestation. Like I manifest a lot. I feel.
Right.
I don't know like what it is within me that just wants to provide, but that's a lot that what drives me. Like I want to be able to provide for other people, and I don't want to rely on anybody.
Got it.
And I think when I moved down here, obviously my why was let me show these people, who
Got it.
doubted me. And then it became let me prove it to myself that I can at least do this. Because when I was in Indiana before real estate, I had um, a bad background, put it that way. Arrest and stuff like that. Court, a lot of court cases before I was 18. So I had to prove to myself too that I could do it, and I wanted to make my dad proud. Really, that was a huge thing.
Right.
So I think you got to have somebody other than yourself that you care about. You know, uh, that's probably what really pushes me because now my why is my son. I mean, your
Yeah.
why changes throughout.
Yeah. It evolves.
It does, but I really, I don't care to impress people. I don't care. I, people say I don't care what people think. I don't. I
Yeah.
mean, I have to because of my position in real estate. Like I can't, but I'm not a bad person. Like, but I just, it doesn't affect me. So I guess just you got to have that will inside just to take care of yourself.
Right.
It's like the lion. He's always chasing in the jungle. And I like that. I think that's our nature almost. Instead of us going out and trying to kill our food, like we got to go out and get the money. And people have money. One of my timeshare coaches, he would tell me, that song is like my wrist bones connected to my elbow bone and my whatever.
Yeah.
He said, when you think of that song, he said, every time you see a person, he's like, their hand bones connected to a wallet. You're my food.
Yeah.
You know, everybody, your customers, they're your food. They put
Yeah.
food on your table. I don't know if I answered that, like,
Oh, you
but
did? In sales, so I've always been in sales all my life, and they always tell you don't, when it's aggressive, don't shop with your wallet, shop with the customer's wallet, which I think that's when things get a little hairy, where you start not doing the most right thing by the customer. But ultimately, business is business. We need what you have in your wallet,
yeah,
but I want you to always feel comfortable
yes,
opening your wallet in front of me, and
a hundred
you know what I
percent.
mean.
And you
That's
got, yeah, and you got to provide that value,
right.
for them to want to give you money,
Correct.
that experience. So our motto here at Optima One Realty is experience the difference. And
Right.
I really truly believe that. I want the agents that work here experience a different culture
Right.
of a real estate office. And I want my clients experience a different experience in real estate.
Yeah.
And I always go back to Disney World, right? So if you look at Disney, they increase their prices every, what, 6 months, a year, something like
Feels
that,
like every day.
every day. But Disney, it costs so much to go to Disney. And what do people do when they go to Disney? They buy the $10 hot dogs. They buy the $20 beers. And what else do? They take more money out of their pocket and they throw their coins in the fountains. They're giving Disney more money. Why? Because of the experience.
Yeah.
If you can give somebody a great experience, like, they're gonna throw money at you.
Yeah.
But you earned it,
Right.
you earned that. Disney earned it. I mean, they earned that money because
Right.
you can't go anywhere else and get that experience. So is that true for your business? And that's how I think people should look at their business.
And again, like back to the experience that I had, and I feel like I have the right to talk about my experience with you, because when you were on before, we didn't do any business.
Right.
So I didn't know what it was like. My intuition said it feels right. Then I did business and it felt awesome. Like my wife still talks about it.
That's
She
cool.
advocates, and we always talk about our experience, and we're always careful because we had an experience with a family member that everybody was throwing their realtor at them.
Right.
And I was just like, hey, listen, I don't want to throw another person at you. I'm just gonna let you know my experience.
Right.
What I've experienced with other realtors, you'll experience the aggression,
Yeah.
the like moving you this way when you want to go right, like all that. You want somebody that's just gonna kind of like, this is what I could offer you. You let me know what you're looking for. I'll come in.
Yeah.
That's what you did, Tony. Like you came with
100%.
options. Okay, you guys don't like this. You want water. You told us it's going to be a little difficult getting water. It's not impossible.
Right.
And my wife, same as you, always manifesting. As soon as
Yeah.
she saw the house that we're at now, she said, "That's my house."
I seen her eyes light up. Like,
Yeah, like
because
it's nonstop.
yeah, she has a vision,
Yes.
and she made it. You guys' house is looking good now. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We've put a ton of like I'll say like now, almost 2 years later, the house feels cozy the way our
sure.
previous house feel. But it takes time. It's true what they say. Like, house is a house, but typically, like your wife, the woman makes it a home,
100%.
right? And I
Yeah.
and I believe that wholeheartedly. That's why when she comes up with these DIYs, my weekends are up or like
Right.
for a month, but it's exciting.
Yeah.
But with that said, being that I come from purchasing a home through FHA, and I purchased a home when interest rates were high, and it wasn't the ideal thing to do. But as you know, like we did it to be closer to family, and that outweighed
Right.
the cost. Where is real estate today?
It's a good question, man. What you just mentioned is what we're seeing a lot of. Yes, interest rates aren't 3% anymore, but it becomes more important. Your goal, it becomes more important than the interest rates,
Right.
right? So we were just talking about this the other day, me and one of my agents. A lot of what we see today is two things. So we see families moving in together, or parents selling to move closer to their kids, kids selling to move closer to their parents. We're seeing a lot of that lately, where in the past, we have so many people coming down from like different states just to be in Florida. But now it's like more family oriented.
Right.
And when we did your home to sell contingency, it wasn't that popular. Now, I don't want to say half, but close to half of the transactions that we do, they have a home to sell too, and they have to buy another house, right?
Right. We'll break that down real quick for the people that don't
Yeah.
understand
So
that.
if you currently own a home, but you're looking to buy a different home, but you need the funds from your current home to buy that house. That's what we call a home to sell contingency. There's a lot of navigation that happens throughout that process, but if it's done correctly with somebody that's experienced, it can be done. And we're seeing this more and more. That way you don't have to, because if you need those funds, you have a couple options, right? You can do a refi on your house, but that'll hold up your like DTI to buy another house, your debt to income to buy another house. You can rent it out, like we spoke about, but you still need that cash to put down on the next
Right.
house. So instead of just selling your house and then, renting or staying in a hotel for a while, you don't leave your home until we close on your new home. And then all the funds from your old home gets transferred to purchase your new home simultaneously. So,
That's what Tony did. He made
yeah.
it happen. He made it happen where we came to this office, we closed on our house, we sold it, and then we closed on the
Yes,
new
we
house.
did.
And it was awesome too because you negotiated. We were able to stay an extra couple days at the house
Yes.
after we weren't the owners anymore,
And that is key,
which is
right?
huge.
Yeah, because moving is so stressful,
Yeah,
especially if, like, imagine you got to move out the same day and move into a new house the same day. Like, that's super stressful.
yeah,
So when you're doing this, if anybody out there is thinking about doing this home to sell contingency, make sure that the realtor that you use as your listing agent negotiates up front that you get a few days or a week or whatever you need in your house. That way, when you close on both homes, you have a couple days to move.
yeah,
It's huge.
yeah. It was amazing. It helped us out tremendously because anything can happen when you're buying a home. Anything,
That's
one
right.
hiccup,
Yep.
somebody goes and buys a car that they shouldn't buy. I'm pretty sure. Hopefully, it doesn't
Yes.
happen as much anymore.
Not much anymore, but it
Well,
happens.
and don't do that. That's one thing
Right.
Tony tells us. Even though we already knew that, Tony was like, "Don't buy anything." He said,
Yeah.
"Guys, just hold, please. Another
Yeah.
couple weeks. We'll be
Yes.
done."
No Kohl's card, no American, nothing.
Yeah.
Survive on noodles for a month if you have to.
So we listened. We were clear on that. But a lot of times, like when you're in those type of circumstances, like and let's say you don't get that negotiated in, and then
Yeah.
the seller says or the buyer is like, "No, I want you guys out." You could be in a situation where it's like now you got to put everything into a store. It just added
Yeah.
stress that
Yep.
if an experienced realtor
Yeah.
says, "Hey guys, I think like what do you guys think about doing this?"
Right.
And when you presented that, we were like, "Yes, we didn't even know that was possible."
Yeah. Not many
So
people
we
do
got
it.
that done.
Yeah. And when you're doing something like this, like a home to sell contingency, try to close Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, right? Because, like you said, anything can happen in real estate,
Right.
and you can have the best realtor, but it takes a team. You have two realtors on either end, right? So if
Right.
one's not communicating, the other looks bad. You have a lender, most cases. You have a title company. You have like a home inspector, an appraisal, on the survey company. Like there's a lot that goes on. So if one of those things don't line up, it could push the closing back, 2, 3 days or more.
Yeah.
Which happens. It happens a lot.
And we were dealing with an out of state,
Out of
out of
country seller.
country seller.
Yeah,
That was also
that was interesting. I
and
mean,
this is what I'm talking. Tony is probably a great poker player because you would not like he made sure that we were calm, cool. He's like,
yeah,
I got it, guys. Like, not that he wasn't giving us the information. He was honest and telling us everything that was going on as it was happening. But just the fact that we could look at you like, is everything okay? You're like, I got it, guys. I'm
yeah,
gonna make sure this happens.
yeah,
And just having that
yeah.
ability of like, okay,
There's a lot. I just did it today, right? So we had like I have a closing tomorrow, and I wasn't hearing back from the buyer's agent, and it's my seller, right? My seller's moving out, and they're trying to schedule. We're trying to schedule a final walkthrough. The buyer's agent's not contacted me. Usually, when that happens, there's a problem. You know,
yeah,
I didn't tell her that until I knew exactly what was going on. So, um, I there's a lot of stressful times during a real estate transaction that you should not feel the stress of it, although it's stressful for everybody. But there's times that like there's gonna be things maybe you don't need to know right now.
yeah. That makes sense.
Unless, until I figure it out 100%
Yeah,
and go through every single avenue,
yeah.
to make sure I can fix it.
Yeah, like why ruffle feathers if
Yes,
this may be resolved in an hour or two?
correct.
Once the shit really hits the fan, then it's like, all right, I need to let
Yeah.
my person know.
But I usually tell my clients at closing what went down
Yeah.
because I don't want to leave anything out, but I don't want to stress them out of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I always appreciate that you were very like communicated everything to us. I'm gonna keep talking about how great the experience was. So real estate, we were talking about where it's at today. We're dealing with a lot of people that are trying to move out of their current home,
yep,
all while buying another home, and
yep.
that's like half of your deals are there,
Close to.
half of
Hmm.
them. And then, are you still seeing a lot of folks that are, even though they're selling their home, do you have folks that are doing what we would have tried to do, where it's like instead of selling that home,
They
they
keep it.
keep it and they take out equity? And how good is that to do? It's like I feel like a lot of, and with this said, like, and I know this is like a mixed up kind of question because there's a lot in what I want to ask. Let's start with this. What I've seen a lot that's happened is that people got in on a good time, good
Yeah.
deal, right?
Hmm.
During, let's say, COVID. Now we're what, 5, 6 years down the line. COVID's a thing of the past.
Yeah.
People have a ton of equity. And what I'm seeing is a lot of people that got a good deal are either taking that equity out or selling their homes to buy themselves something else. Is that a good idea, like to do if because and it seems to me it's maybe a rhetorical question, but like I did it in a sense to a certain degree. I didn't have a lot of equity, but it just feels like people that talk about, oh, I got a 3% interest rate. Those same people are putting themselves in a bigger hole, taking out all the equity, doing something to the house, or like, how do you feel about that? That's I know it's. I took that question around.
No, yeah, it's a good question. Every situation is different, of course. It depends on the person's goals. But if you're taking money, a lot of money out of your house to update your house or renovate it, just know that it probably is not going to pay off as much as you think it is. So if you spend $20,000 to upgrade a kitchen, you're not going to get $20,000 back. So if your goal is to do the Burr method in real estate, BRRRR, where you buy, remodel, rent, refinance, then buy again. That, yes, it could be very beneficial. I literally have seen people become millionaires from doing the Burr method. But yeah, every situation is different, man. I mean, it's never good to get rid of a 3% interest rate.
Right.
I mean, but if you have to, you have to.
See what he just did there? Like that's exactly what he did. For us, it was my wife's dad is not doing too well. So for us, Tony told us like, you can go this route and you have a 3% interest rate. He even said this. He's like, you're not gonna see that again. I
Right.
really doubt it. I mean, we don't have a magic crystal
Right.
ball, but the likelihood of that is not gonna happen. So
Probably
you
not.
really have to talk it over with your wife. And it was calm conversation. It wasn't pushy. And you guys really determined. And
Mm.
for us, it was more valuable to be closer to family
That's it,
than to
man.
keep that
Yep.
3%.
Is
So,
what is more important to you. That's all it comes down to. And you tell me, we'll make it happen.
right,
So it's smart in some cases, if you do refi, but I wouldn't suggest to refi just to remodel.
right,
You gotta like really weigh out what's best for you. And if you're gonna be in the home a while, maybe it makes sense. But if you're doing it to sell, not a good idea. You're never gonna get the money back. In most cases,
right.
99.9% of the time.
Question for you on that, like taking the equity out. And I get mixed signals with this because at one point I wanted a pool in the backyard and back
Yeah.
door. Does a pool add, and I think this is a great question to ask because it's all over the internet. Everybody's,
Yes.
does a pool add value to your home or it doesn't? Which one is it? Does it or doesn't it?
So in most cases, yes, it does add value to your house. So you're going to have some people say, well, I don't want a pool. I don't, having a pool doesn't add anything for me. But if we're looking at like the fundamentals of real estate, and if I were an appraiser and you asked me that question, I would say yes. 9 times out of 10, a pool is going to add value to your home. We see it a lot. We'll have one home that's 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 2,000 square feet with no pool, sell for 400. In another similar home, 4 bedroom, 2 bath, 2,000 square foot home, but sells for 450. So in that case, a pool would add $50,000 of value.
Got it.
Does it add value? Yes. Will you get your money back? Probably not, because that pool that added $50,000 in value probably cost you $60 to $80,000 to install.
Right.
That's most parts about real estate, right? A new roof might cost you 20K. You're not going to get 20K back if you sell that, but it's going to add value to that buyer, that you have a new.
It's gonna entice them.
And
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So if I'm looking at two houses, same, one has a new roof. So that is valuable.
So
But
in my case, I will use myself as an example. We got a home. If we put, because now pools are 100,
crazy.
100 grand
Yeah.
easy,
Right.
and then that's maybe with an enclosure.
Yeah.
You spent 100. You bought the house for, let's say, 500.
Mhm.
Spent 100. The house is still not going to be worth that, depending on where the market is. Which right now, how do you feel like the market is? Are people going to get what they want for their homes? Like, I mean, you always want a million for a house, but what I'm saying is, like, are they going to get a good amount, or is it under? Because when I look at mine, it's
Yeah.
a little bit
So
below what we paid, but it's just like the stocks.
exactly. So we are seeing that a lot. If you purchased in the last 2 or 3 years, you're probably going to be where you were, or maybe slightly lower, maybe slightly higher. Every neighborhood is different, right? So when you hear this news about the average home price has decreased 9%, if that's the average, maybe if you take the entire United States, that is not the average for your neighborhood.
Right.
It's not the average for my neighborhood. So every neighborhood is different. But for the most part, we are seeing people that want to sell. Like if they bought in 2024, for example, they want to sell. They're either selling below what they bought it for,
Yeah.
maybe slightly higher, but then you have the fees. So you're not making as much.
Yeah.
That's almost every um, time that we come across this. If you bought in 2023, 2024, 2025,
Yeah. You got to hold on right now. Now is when you hold your.
now's when you hold on, know when to hold them.
Yeah.
We're running into a lot of that. What we're also seeing, unfortunately, Anthony, is what's called a short sale. We're seeing more and more people have to short sell their houses because they need to sell. They can't make the payments because
Right.
insurance has gone up.
Yeah.
Taxes have gone up. So they have to sell for less than what they owe for the home. That's becoming more popular. And we do them. We do short sales. Like that's another niche, right? But we were doing short sales back in 2006 when the market crashed.
Right.
So we know all about short sales.
Is there anything and you let me know if it's something that's not ethical, but is there any situations where people find a loophole within that where they do a short sale and try to buy it, so like within family? Is that a thing, or is that illegal? And I'm being naive here. I don't know.
No, that's a great question. And yes, that is looked down upon
Okay.
from the bank. It's almost considered mortgage fraud. And I'm not an attorney. Maybe it is considered mortgage fraud. But I know that in the past, we've had people try to do that. They try to have like their uncle buy the house and have them stay in it. But when you do a short sale, the bank's going to have you sign paperwork stating that, when you sell your house, it's what's called an arm's length transaction, which means nothing's shady. Everything is up on the table. So yeah, you're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wondered that because in 2007, 2008, we had family that they were trying to see how to keep the house, but they
100%.
genuinely could not afford the home
Right.
anymore. But they were trying to see like what options they had, and ultimately they just had to do a short sale and get out of there.
Yeah. It's sad, but yeah. Mhm.
And how is it right now with the state of real estate when it comes to, like, are you seeing more and more short sales? Are you seeing any rise in foreclosures? And what I'm getting at is what you hear in the news all the time, a recession. So
Yeah.
typically when real estate starts,
Yeah. It's a good indicator.
it's a good
Mhm.
indicator. Are you seeing more and more of that, or is it like a good and I hate to say good, but like, is it a normal?
Right. We'll never, I don't know. I don't want to say never, but I don't think we'll ever get back to how the crash happened. There were some areas, I think Las Vegas was like 1 in 4 houses were in foreclosure. Are we seeing an increase in foreclosures now? Yes, we are. But what you have to look at is the foreclosure rate was so low last year, 2 years ago, that if it increases 5%,
It's
like
drastic.
it's still low. Still, because average might be here, I think, maybe they're there. So back when everything happened with the foreclosures and the market tanked, these banks, a lot of it was adjustable interest rates. So your payment would go from let's say 2,800.
This is insane.
And
Yeah.
yeah. And so these banks were foreclosed on everybody. And then they would just release all their inventory, which would flood the market. They got smart. That's not going to happen again. So if properties about values go down, I don't see it like tanking. I just
Right.
don't, unless something crazy happens, which it could. But you got to look at every city, every area different. Orlando has they're in one of the best economic states in the region. So we have a strong economy here in Orlando. Plus we have all the tourism that feeds into
Right.
that. Um, in Orlando, Central Florida right now, we're in what's considered a balanced market.
Nice.
And this isn't an opinion. This is supply and demand. How many houses are for sale? How many are pending? How many are selling? Right now, we're in a balanced market, which means we are in a healthy real estate market. If you start to see a slide toward a seller's market, that means the buyers are overpaying for houses, most likely. And that's what happened in 2020,
Right.
2021. If you start to see a slide to like a buyer's market, then that's when you can probably get a really good deal, go out and negotiate with sellers. Being that we're right in the middle, it's good for both parties.
To get some deals done.
Yes, I mean, this is what real estate is meant to be. Like right now is what real estate should be.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then you speak about Orlando and it being like a good area because of you have all the attractions,
Yeah.
a lot of tourism. Can you talk to us a little bit about the state of Airbnb now? Like, how much of that do you see? Do you have a lot of investors that they're buying from you because of that to do that, or
So the Airbnb market is pretty bad.
is it?
For the most part, yes. I'm not huge in that space, but from agents that are, I guess the hotels are now all on Airbnb on the site. So like it's not as exclusive as it was. But if you look at Davenport, for example, the inventory in Davenport is skyrocketed from what it was. The values, for the most part, are decreasing in almost every neighborhood because big portion of that was Airbnb. We've had people call and want to sell their Airbnbs because they're just not getting the return that they were. So Davenport's struggling. Like you cannot compare Davenport to Lake Nona or Davenport to Claremont because Davenport was a lot of Airbnb, and because that market has gone down quite a bit, the values go down with it.
Oh wow, so. What is it that's causing that shift? Is it just in your opinion? Is it just hotels have gotten more competitive and now can compete against Airbnb?
I think that's the case. I think, you got to look at supply and demand. So I think hotels are now in that space, but also the amount of people that were buying Airbnb because it was like the thing to do.
Yeah,
I mean, not everybody can own one, because that's when the market comes down.
yeah,
So
because that's what it felt like. Because you go to some, even the parts of Kissimmee, you go and it's like they have communities just for
all
Airbnb.
Airbnb,
You can see the person, like the backyards. Every backyard has an enclosure.
yes.
Every backyard has a
Yep.
pool, and it's just like,
And see, they built Airbnb communities out in Davenport that are brand new, and some of those houses are still selling crazy 900,000. But I think that's taken away too from the yous and me's that are buying one. But it's just the market got saturated, so it's can't stay up forever.
where do you see real estate going in another 5 years?
That's a heavy prediction. In
Another
another,
year, let's say another year.
uh, in another year, and I follow all kinds of sites and mortgage. I have a lot of good friends that are in the mortgage industry too, so we have this conversation a lot. I hate making predictions because you never know what's going to happen. What I can tell you is that we are steady right now. We are steady, and it's not slowing down. Has it slowed down since 2020, 2021? Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't go at that rate. If we continue to that rate, a typical house would be $1 million. But if I look at my company stats and, stats on the MLS, sales are down slightly, but the average home price has still increased slightly, in our
Right.
area. So that tells us that maybe less people are moving, right? But there are still people moving and there are still people that see value here. Um, and we had a very good first quarter. And we have a lot of homes pending right now too, which tells me buyers are still coming and rates are at 6% ish.
So nothing has changed. Like the interest rate being, because now it's like almost normal.
Now
That's six
now it's
percent. It's
normal.
normal. Like now you don't
Yeah.
hear it as much. It's like, oh, the interest rates are
Correct.
horrendous. Now it's like, yeah,
Yeah, that's the rate.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's become the new norm for now. And then as far as interest rates, when people get in or that bought a house a year or two ago, and I think this is kind of like more of a loan officer question, but are you seeing more and more people coming back to the table and saying, "Hey, I want to refinance because I see that the interest rates are lower. Is it worth doing that?"
I can't speak on that, Anthony, because I just don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know, how many people are going back to refi. I believe there's an increase in refi, but I don't think it's anything huge.
yeah,
But when the rates dropped earlier this year below 5%, we've seen a lot more buyers come to the market. When
right,
the war when the war started, it was slow. Now, they're kind of used to it.
yeah,
Don't want to say it like that, but it's how it is. I mean, I think people get afraid of the economy, what's going to happen. But once they understand, like, okay, this is the normal, that the sky is not falling, we still need to purchase a home for our family.
right,
But yeah, I mean, as of right now, if this continues the way that it has been, for the last 3 or 4 months, um, I think the prices are going to increase slightly in some neighborhoods. We've seen a lot more. I'll give you an example. So a neighborhood that I specialize in, they call it like the farm area, whatever. But I sell a lot, sold over 50 homes in this one neighborhood in Waterside Point here in Groveland.
yeah.
And for the longest time, maybe 11, 12, 13 months, there was an average of maybe 18 homes for sale. Just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, that 18 went down to 7. So that's an indication of what's going on. Now, we're in April right now. So April is called, like, they refer to it as the Goldilocks time in real estate. This is when most homes will sell. Like 28% of the home sales are going to happen in this quarter.
That's yeah. This is around the time that
Yeah.
we bought a home.
Yeah. So the increase can be due to that as well.
Right.
So we'll see how it continues the rest of the year. It could fall down, it could go up. But real estate, remember, is we are kind of like the stock market, but we're not the stock. You're not going to fall 100,000. You're not going to fall 20,000 in a month or
Yeah.
2 months. It's going to go like this, I think, for a while. It'll go up, it'll go down, and then what I hope to see is a very small increase in average home price, because that's healthy.
Got it.
And I know a lot of people that own homes are like, no, I want it to go like this.
Of course.
You gotta, real estate for your family shouldn't be a monetary investment. It should be investment for your family. Unless you're investing in real estate, buying
That's
different
something
homes,
different.
then that's different. But remember, the higher that your home goes, the higher the next house you buy is going to be.
Yeah, yeah.
No, personally, I feel like it's going to be very steady for the next year or so. I don't
Which
think.
is good all around because that says a lot about everything else.
Correct. Yeah.
Um, and then as far as like for viewers also, like what are some of the up and coming neighborhoods that you would recommend people to look into if like people are wanting to buy a home, but they're scrambling up a couple thousand to do an FHA loan?
Okay.
What are some of those areas that you would advise people to go to? First of all, they need to call you.
Please
Right?
call me. Yeah.
But as far as like what cities, neighborhoods, what would you recommend?
I'm gonna let out a little secret here, okay? Because I like you. um, when this neighborhood went up, I called every one of my investors and I said, guys, you have to get in here. It's North Groveland, and you can buy brand new homes over there right now for 300,000. Beautiful area, up and coming. One mistake a lot of people make that are maybe first time home buyers or second time home buyers. They say, well, I want to be in an area that's, got everything around it. That's fine. But investment wise, like if you're looking for a lot of increase in value, that's not where you should be. You should be in an area where you can buy first before everybody else
It's
buys.
like what Claremont was 15,
Exactly.
20 years ago, right?
So this is the new North Groveland. I'm telling you, man, like up there by 27 and Villa City Road, there's a lot going on there. And you can search the Groveland development websites and see everything that's coming. But for those homes to be 300,000 right now, brand new,
It's unheard of. Yeah, you don't hear that.
that's where people are going to make their most money right now. Claremont, it's a great place to live, but the prices have gotten so high for the average family
Because it's established already.
because it's already established. Okay, now you're 5 minutes north of Claremont and you're getting a great value. Guess what's going to happen in 5 years? They're good. Like this is how real estate is.
Yeah, it's
So
yeah.
buying on the outskirts, but knowing that it's not going to be like, rural forever. So doing your research there, in every box that I check mark for my investors, this community has every single one. And we've sold some in there. We were the first 3 or 4 sales in that neighborhood. So, and I had one investor get in early. He bought a townhome for 260, where the average townhome in the area, Groveland, was 340.
Right.
So it's about buying in that first phase and recognizing what's coming. I'm happy. I feel good that I sold these homes to these investors because I know well, you can never know for a fact, but I know they're going to make money, and
Of
I'm
course.
ecstatic for them.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's below what the average is right now.
Yes.
Because when I look at homes right now, like I don't know, four two, like 4 bedroom, 2 bath, you're looking at 400,000. Am I wrong? Or
100%. Yep.
so and that's and I don't know because I was more so looking at pre-owned homes. I don't know what it is for new. Is it around that same amount or a little bit more,
A
a
little
little
bit
less?
more.
So to be at the 300
It's
range
crazy,
is
dude.
sweet. That I mean, that's what I got the house in Deltona for. But I had to go all the way out to Deltona where there's nothing out there. Groveland is different because I lived in Waterside too
Yep.
for a bit, and that's right in the cusp of Claremont into Groveland.
Mm.
And everything that you have, and you start seeing it, you almost can smell the Target
Yeah.
construction starting, right? That's all my wife cares about. She's like, when are they putting a Target up the road? But you can see it, you can feel it, the new stores.
Well, this location I'm telling you about is currently 18 minutes from a Target. Target's going to come, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So yeah. Really, if you have anybody and they don't have to use me as a realtor, but I'm telling you, this is the next spot. This is the place that you have to buy. You
And
can't.
that was like Waterside.
Yes, 100%. Yeah,
I
and
know.
Waterside was on the edge, right? And everybody's like, "Oh, Groveland," but
That's one of the
yeah,
nicest
yeah.
neighborhoods. So Tony, before we wrap up, anything you want to touch on before we end the episode, like anything that you want to give off to the people, the viewers, listeners.
Uh, I mean, a couple of things that I would just leave you guys with is real estate should be a more serious transaction, a more serious event in your life. And I think most people understand because everybody's a realtor now. You see a lot of people, realtors on Instagram making these funny jokes, right? Or they're funny reels. I love them. I mean, they're great and they get great views, but I hope it's not giving off a wrong identity to our profession because just because somebody can make a good TikTok does not mean they're going to represent you in your most, important financial decision in your life. So just understanding that just because somebody's cool or, they're funny, cool, hang out with them, be their friend, maybe do a little interview before you use them for your real
Right.
estate agent. And man, just, I've trained hundreds of agents and I have, 60 here in my office. I will tell you the number one reason why people fail, and I think this is for with any business, is they're too afraid to start,
Mm.
right? They're too afraid to put that first foot forward because they don't want to look stupid. One of my mentors told me one time, like, why are you afraid of looking stupid? Do you know that like when you die, there's going to be people that don't come to your funeral because it's raining?
Wow.
Yeah. and they're gonna forget about you a year or two later. You know, you're not that important. I'm not that important. Nobody's that important that we're gonna sit here and talk about you all day. Like, just go, do it, fail. Like, have that expectation of failing and keep going and keep going and keep going and fail again because that's how you learn. Every single successful person, that's how they do it. Too many people stop when they fail first one
Yeah,
time
yeah,
and then they stop. So that, everybody needs to know that because I feel like so many more people can make it in this world if they just understand that and
yeah.
just take that like leap.
I just keep seeing the little, it's like a meme or something where they show this guy that's, it's like he has a
Yeah.
picket and he's
And
just
the
looking
gold's
for
like right
gold
here.
and then he stops and the gold is right there.
Man, I see that all the time in this business. If you're watching this and if you're in the real estate business, if you're an agent, and one, if you don't have a broker or support team at your office, call me. Like I said, I'm not going to call anybody, but if somebody needs help, like call me. We do hire agents still. You're welcome to come in and interview. Now we don't hire just anybody. It has to be a certain, personality type. But if you're struggling with your current brokerage and you want more out of this industry, which you deserve, give me a call. We can talk. Second thing, I'm just going to promote real quick, if you don't
Yeah, yeah.
mind. We are starting a real estate coaching for agents that need some extra help. So if anybody's interested, reach out to Anthony, reach out to me, and we'll get you the information on that stuff. And if you are a realtor listening and you're in the Central Florida area, June 22nd, we have put together an event for all realtors, not just with my company, but for all realtors. We got the UWM, which is the largest mortgage company in the United States, the vice president of growth, Sean Washington. He's going to be here in downtown Claremont. We have a lady by the name of Betsy with Realtor Rise Academy. She's going to be down here speaking. So it's
Nice.
going to be an awesome event for everybody in the real estate industry being held in downtown Claremont. The tickets are free. We're here to better the industry, man. So
It's
everybody's
amazing.
welcome to join that.
Tony, thank you so much for once again coming on the show.
Thank you,
I
man. I
really
appreciate it.
appreciate it. I appreciate that you're so welcoming and all the great things that I already said.
Thank you.
I'll say it again, which is it's amazing the fact that you're willing to have a conversation with me, even though I know how busy you are
All
just
good.
about every day. And also supporting my business is something that I didn't really, I said thank you, but just I think you're always willing to give a helping hand, even if it's just some advice or even supporting somebody else's business. I thought that
Yeah,
was huge, and that speaks volumes of you. So thank you for being on the show.
my pleasure, man. Thank you.